Hello, and welcome to the Art of Online Marketing live show. Today we're talking about making your social media content stand out. So hello, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Denise Allison, and I help established entrepreneurs create their own content and get more visibility on social media. So this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, especially if they're new to the whole idea of creating content. And that is that they struggle with seeing how their social media content is going to stand out because, as you know, there's like a billion social media posts that are being created every single second. And if you're going to be creating content, you don't want it to fit into that and just get sucked into all of that mass. You want it to stand out and actually appeal to your ideal clients and customers. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how to make that content stand out in a world where there's just so much content out there and it can feel like everything has already been covered. So let me just back up because I keep hitting the thing and it's making the whole thing shake. So before we get started, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, who you are. Well, it'll say your name, who you are, what your business is, and where you're watching from. And before we get into today's content, I do want to remind everyone that I have a social media summer camp going on this summer, and that is one-on-one coaching to help you get your online presence on social media in order before we get back into the fall. So if you want to learn more about that, you can answer below, you can send me a DM, or you can send me an email and I'll send you all of the details for that. All right, so let's get into today's content. How can I stand out on social media? So first of all, the struggle is this, that people want to create content. They've been told that they need to create content on social media so that they can start this marketing strategy and get their clients to notice and want to learn more from them. But really what is happening is they don't understand how to create content that's going to make them stand out. And what really happens is that most people out there online kind of just end up regurgitating content from the big people. Big people, that's not really the right term, but that's what we're calling them today, from the big names in their industry. That content gets regurgitated, and really you're not going to be standing out by sharing the same content, the same ideas, and the same 5 ways to do this thing that's already out there and has been shared and that everyone has already seen. So it's really about coming up with something unique. And I mean, I'd say the reason that we fall into this trap is that, well, when you're just getting started, you don't know what to say and you don't know how to create content and you really don't know how to interact as a human on social media. So we go looking for ideas from, like I said, the top names in our industry, and we look at that content, and that is totally legit and fine, and you can learn a lot from watching other people and get inspired from them. But what ends up happening most of the time is that we take that content, we change a few words, and then we reshare it and try to make it our own. And of course, that content isn't unique. So that is not really going to help you stand out because you're not sharing it from inside. So another couple of things that I want to mention before we move forward into how to actually do this is the 2 pieces of content that people share way too much and they're relying way too heavily on are quotes and statistics. And they are absolutely doing you no favors. So you take this nice image of a beach and you put a quote on top of it and you put the author who wrote it and you share that. That is really not doing you any favors. If you're putting it as part of a bigger strategy, sure. Or if you're using it to teach a lesson or to go forward with something else, some other thought, that is fine too. But there's some social media accounts that are just inspirational quotes and really serve no purpose. The second one is statistics. Now, statistics can be great and they can really inform both you when you're coming up with the content that you want to share. They can be a great starting off point. So, for example, if I come across a statistic that says that 80% of content that's being consumed online is video, well, that's a great indication to me that one, I should be creating video, and two, that I should be helping my audience and my clients create their own videos, because that is something that is trending upwards, and those stats can tell us that. So if you're going to be sharing statistics, make sure that you're giving them some context, and that your whole social media feed isn't just stats and facts and quote cards. You need something a little bit more substantial. So that's kind of where we're at now. That is the struggle that I see a lot of people having, is they're just reiterating what has already been created, or they're just sharing quotes and stats. So what you want to be doing is you want to be sharing what you have learned to be true in your own experiences. So the issue that I often see content creators have is when they are just taking other people's content and like rejigging it, they're sharing it out of context. Like, your content is going to have so much power, so much more power, if you give the story behind it. So for example, I was doing this, then I tried that, and this is what worked, and this is what didn't. So when you're just sharing the reiterated version of what someone else said, you're not giving it that context, which is not giving it any relatability, which means that no one is really going to be reading it. So you need to share things that you know to be true for certain. Like, you absolutely know them to be true, and you've learned them through your own experiences. So this is the number one thing that's going to make your content more effective and more unique, because nobody shares the same experiences as you or the same stories as you. So really sharing things that you've learned through your own experiences can make your content go so much further and give it more legs, because really, humans relate through stories and experiences. Yeah, I could make a list of the 10 best ways to get more visibility on social media. But first of all, that list has already been made by many people. And second is that there's no relatability in it. And people really, they grasp things better when there is more of a story woven through it. So whenever you're going to share content, you want to make sure that you're sharing it through your own perspective, and that you're not just sharing like the 10 things or the 3 things or the 1 thing, but that you're sharing it in throughout a story from your own experiences. So when you share your content that way, another thing that happens is you are taking a stand for what you absolutely believe to be true in your heart. So there is no more wishy-washiness, which is a huge issue that I see out there on social media, and makes a lot of the content out there garbage. So for example, if you were watching this show and you asked me a question below, which, by the way, absolutely encourage you to do at any point. But if you asked a question and I was like, well, some people believe this and some people believe that, like that wouldn't really be helpful to you, because one, it's not giving you an answer, and two, I'm not taking a stand for what I believe to be true based on my own experiences. So for example, if someone came on and was like, what do you think about creating a Facebook group for your Facebook audience instead of having a page? And then I would share with them what my ideas are on creating a Facebook group. And that is that creating a Facebook group isn't going to solve all of your struggles, even though that's what a lot of people have been led to believe, because Facebook is putting a lot more emphasis on groups. But creating a Facebook group isn't going to solve all of your problems. It's just going to create a whole new set of problems of you having to get people in your group. You need to get those people to engage, and so on and so forth, which is kind of like a whole other topic, and we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. So if somebody came and asked me about that topic, I wouldn't say, well, Facebook groups are good because of this, but they're also have their disadvantages because of that. So it's really taking a stand on what you believe. And and drawing that line in the sand. And what that does is it repels the people who aren't in the same camp as you, which sounds like a scary thing, I know, but it's actually a good thing because you're not wasting your time with them. And the people who do believe in what you're saying, they're just relate to you that much more, and they appreciate what you're saying so much more. So think about it another way. Well, think about it if you were someone that helped people overcome eating disorders, for example, and you've been there before in your own experience. And you can say with absolute certainty, this is what I did to overcome this challenge, and this is what worked. Now, what you're going to say, it might not be the way that everyone does it, and it might not work for everybody, and some people can disagree with that. But you are going to draw that line in the sand, and you're going to say, this is what worked for me, absolutely, and this is what I believe because I've lived it through experiences. Now, like I said, some people are going to come and say, oh, I don't think that's a great way to do it, but you've lived it, you know that it works, and you are drawing that line, and you're getting super clear on your messaging, and that is what's going to make your content stand out. Not having the wishy-washiness, but saying, yes, I believe in this. All right? Okay. And next is using your own voice. Now, there's plenty of good ideas out there. There's plenty of ideas that have not been come up with yet. But that being said, there's only a certain amount of ways to do things and approach things and think of things. And in most industries, there are certain beliefs that are held by a great number of people, which means that you probably share your opinion or perspective with other people out there, which that is when we come into the struggle of, oh, it's been done before, everyone has already done that, and someone's already an expert in that, and they have millions of followers. There isn't room for everyone else. And this is where a lot of people tend to get stuck. But in reality, your content becomes unique when you share it in your own voice because it's from you. So it's really important to think about that voice when you're sharing that content, sharing your stories, and you want to be infusing your personality into that. Because if I just sat here again and spit out ways to fill up your social media calendar, again, it's been done. There's no personality. I wouldn't be able to not put my personality into it. But if you don't want to just share things in a generic way, you want to make sure that you are infusing your personality and your voice into it, putting your own spin on it, and again, just putting yourself into the content that you're creating, and not creating it in a silo where it's just information, but putting a face to it so that it's more relatable. Because here's the thing. Some people like some people more than they like other people. I know that sounded kind of funny. So there's some really famous and successful people out there who are not liked by absolutely everyone on this planet. Okay. So think about someone like Gary Vee. He is super famous, super successful, has influenced tons of people and ideas and all kinds of things. But not everyone likes the way he does things because he can be a little bit, just a strong character and a strong personality. So not everybody likes that, and he's not everyone's cup of tea, which is fine, and that's just how the world works. So if someone came along and they had some similar ideas, but shared them from their own voice, their own perspective, with their own personality, well, the people who don't like Gary Vee might appreciate his way or her way of sharing those ideas and become a lifelong follower of that person. So making sure that when you are sharing these ideas, that even if you have the same ideas as someone else, that you're not trying to become them, because that's where you get stuck. So for example, if I was a huge fan of Marie Forleo, and I wanted to share some ideas that she has shared before, because she has talked about a lot of great things, it would not be doing me any favors to also like try to be her in her style with her hair and just becoming a mini version of her. But it's okay to share some of those same ideas, but making sure that I'm making them my own and putting my own spin on it. And that's really how you make your content unique. The actual idea doesn't need to be brand new because let's face it, there aren't that many realities out there for everyone to be creating like 50 pieces of content every year and have like billions of people creating that and have those all be different, right? So a lot of content that people create is some kind of version of what exists already. But what's really important is that you are putting your own personality into it. You're sharing it from your own voice, but you're also sharing it from your own point of view and your own perspective. And that's what helps it stand out. Because, like I said, some people relate to some people better than others. And so by doing that, you are able to relate to them. You're able to stand out from the way that you're doing it and you're presenting it and you're sharing it. So that's how you make your content stand out on social media. All right, thank you so much for being with me here today. I know today was a little bit jumbly because all the ideas kind of run together, but one, don't just regurgitate what other people said and don't only share quotes and statistics. Two, share your own experiences and share your ideas and your content from experiences that you've had. And three, share them in your own voice. And if you want to create a kick-ass social media presence by the end of summer, then you can check out Social Media Summer Camp. And if you want to learn some more details and information about that, send me a DM or leave me a note below and I'll get in touch with you. All right, everyone, have a great week.